being a woman is actually very powerful.
I love
find.
that.
I
I
find.
agree and I love that.
Yeah.
But please say more.
Because we have strengths that others don't have, no? There is like beauty into being a woman. And it's about making sure that you let that come across and harness that for the betterment, not just of yourself, but of others.
Yeah.
To celebrate Women's Month, I am so lucky to sit down with Grace Vera Cruz, the country head of Grab Philippines, to learn from her incredible journey.
So I wanted to backtrack a bit about your career journey because being the country head of Grab, of course, breaks so many barriers and glass ceilings. Pero parang your whole career naman has been like that. So can you tell us a bit about that career journey to get to where you are now?
You know, when I was growing up, there was a concept of it's a man's world. I know that we don't hear about it now, but like 20 years ago when I started my career, like that was a very big concept. And like the industries that I found myself in were always, mostly men's world at that time, tagged as. So initially, I was a retail territory manager for Shell, like one of the females there. Then I went to investment banking, then consulting, then private equity, and then
All male-dominated
all
spaces
male-dominated.
talaga.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Even with Grab, right? Like, although we are pushing for more women, LGBT drivers, like it's still male-dominated when it comes to our driver network. And we were doing something. We want to do something about it. We're doing something about it. Let's see if we succeed.
Mahirap yun. Especially, like you mentioned, 20 years ago, hindi pa masyadong uso yung females in male-dominated spaces. Did you see like a pattern, something you kept seeing in these male-dominated spaces? And ano yung ginawa mo to like break those barriers?
Being a woman is actually very powerful.
I love that. I
find.
agree and I love that.
Yeah.
But please say more.
Because we have strengths that others don't have, no? And when I hire people or when I recruit people in my team, I always look for strengths. And I find that any gender have their own strengths. It's just that when you're in a community or group of people where your gender, for example, is less represented, to me, I find it more challenging. But at the same time, like it reiterates in my mind that being a woman is powerful. There is like beauty into being a woman. And it's about making sure that you let that come across and harness that for the betterment, not just of yourself, but of others.
Yeah. So you practice that in every place and company you went to. Madami ding parang biases against women. And a lot of women face that until now. So what did you do to like disprove yung mga biases na yun?
I studied men's behavior. So for example, like when I go to a company or to a firm, the first thing I ask myself is who's the most successful in my role? For example, when I was a retail territory manager at Shell, who did I feel was the most successful retail territory manager? And I would really study like what made them successful. And then one of the things that made them successful actually during that time was like the relationships they had with our retailers. No, a lot of that is fueled by, I would say, relationship out of the office. Meaning like you have dinners together, Initially, the bias was, if you're a guy, it's so much easier to have dinners with everybody.
Totoo naman. Yun yung mga nag-golf, nagdi-dinner, nilalabas sa kung san bar, ganyan.
But then inisip ko, okay, then how do I change that a bit? Right? Like, do I, for example, network with their wives? What kind of topics would a woman talk about with someone else? With men, with powerful men. And I think that was a challenge. But at the same time, like, you'd be surprised. Like, people also want to hang out with women. So it's all about understanding, the biases and what's really accurate or factual and what's just a bias. Many of the powerful men have daughters. And I find that some of them saw me as a potential daughter, not to say marriage or something, but it's more like because they have daughters, they are also understanding of your situation, your abilities, and they appreciate it, which was actually not, I didn't think that initially.
Okay, that's very interesting. And I wanted to go there because I think across the board, whatever industry you're in, for a woman to rise the ranks or make her name or be in a leadership position, hindi niya yun ginawa mag-isa. It took like a village. It took a lot of support. So I have a two-pronged question. First is, what type of support did you have through your career journey? And second is, now being the head of this company, I'm sure you extend that support on all levels then to be more inclusive to women.
Yes. So blessed with a lot of support. If I were to thank God about the one thing in my career, it's about having a lot of mentors. Most of them male, if you can imagine. And I have to be grateful for that because I was in male-dominated industries. So therefore, like typically, like our bosses were male. Like there are very enlightened male professionals. And they supported me in my journey, continue to support me in my journey. And they accept and acknowledge the differences between genders and just accept that wholeheartedly and value that and treasure that. And they also help me understand, like I think in every time in my career, every single point in my career, I have been blessed with great mentors that have invested time in me. So I think that's one. The second is now, when I look at how we're doing it for others, like I attended this function where Doris Magsaysay put together ambassadors and female leaders, female ambassadors, because for the first time, I think we have a lot of female ambassadors. And
sorry, this is not brand ambassadors, like literal ambassador of Singapore to the Philippines, ambassador of the UK to the Philippines.
Yes. So diplomats, because they wanted to understand, I guess, the economy and things like that. It's so special. And one of the things I took out of that is, women must support other women. And I think that actions speak louder than words. So if we say women must support other women, what does it really mean? No? And so this year at Grab, for example, we're doing, as a subset of our Grab Ascenso program, we're doing like a special program to encourage more women to drive in our platform, more women to make more livelihood in our platform. And I think that's something that we really want to push. It's not just talk, but we're really putting effort into our operations, into our marketing, and into our product. So even in the tech side, so we want to address the concerns of women so that they can drive in the Grab platform, so that we will have more women drivers. It's super a special time for us. It's the first time we're doing it that's holistic, and I'm really excited to see what the results would be. Maybe I'll give you an example.
Yes, please do.
So one of the things that we realized interviewing women drivers is that natatakot sila because some passengers might not be as safe. So one of the things that we're trying to do on the product side, hindi pa tapos, but we will come out with it, is to match women drivers with women passengers.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, it's so good to start normalizing that. Kasi me, as a consumer, and siguro may ibang mga babae makaka-relate dito, whenever I book, let's say, a rider for Express or a driver for car, pag babae yung name and photo, parang may ganon. It's not yet normalized. Kasi parang, uy, babae, yung matutuwa ka. But then the idea is to not even have that. Because it's just like, all riders are the same. And I was telling them earlier about an experience, which I appreciate the inclusivity. So I work in ABS-CBN, and obviously it's in an area na tabi-tabi yung mga restaurants. I always order food via the app. Tapos i-deliver, ipipick up namin. We're used to bike and nakamotor. But this time, when someone accepted, it was a girl and nakalagay on foot. So meaning, kasi it was just 2 blocks away, the restaurant. So on foot. So I was like, pwede pala yun. And in my head, that already creates so much opportunity, especially in cities na mas dense. Diba? Not literally walking distance yung mga office from the restaurants. And usually naman, access is one of the biggest barriers. And so yun pa lang, on foot, bike, motor already opens the gates, kumbaga, for so much more opportunity.
The other one is flexibility. So we offer women max flexibility. So if they want to work 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. because their kids are asleep, okay lang. Because, a lot of women still care for their kids. They have work and they care for their kids, but sometimes they want to do things for themselves, like earn for themselves extra. We don't care. If it's 12 midnight to 2 a.m. that you want to work, we're happy to accommodate that.
Correct. Siguro just to wrap everything up, what's your advice first to women leaders or women in positions of leadership and influence? And second is your advice to women who feel na kahit ang dami ng dreams, there are so many barriers in their way.
My advice is, kaya mo yan. No, I really believe it. I really believe it. Like, I think that women have strength. I know you do Pilates, but it's the core. Yeah. You know, like we have strength, inherent strength to take on so many battles. Success starts with the fact that you believe in yourself and that you believe that you can do it. External affirmation, while good, to me is just complementary. If you don't believe in yourself, you will not. No? So parang to me, the first step is really to say to yourself, kaya mo yan. And I see that to myself even now, like in the toughest moments, kaya mo yan. You know, like tap yourself at the back and kaya mo yan. The other thing I would say is you lift as you rise. No? I've been blessed with good mentors, and that's why I don't have a choice but to give back. Over the last, for example, 3 months, like I've received questions on whether I could mentor. And I've done it before, but I have had less time over the last 3 years, but I really want to do it again. So I'm mentoring a few female tech startup leaders, really like conversing with them, and then like a few people from UP where I graduated. And I think the idea of lifting as you rise is so important because we would not be here without others that have lifted us. You know, it's very different to be smart. It's very different to be smart and have the opportunity to show people what you can do. So it's the breaks, I would say, that are externally driven almost. Like sabi nga nila, you work hard, but sometimes, like, you know, you need someone to give you that big break. And we've been given the big breaks, right? And I think that if you can give someone the opportunity to excel or break the ceiling for herself, like, oh, what a fantastic feeling. So it's something that I really try to do from organizations I'm part of, but now also for others outside our organization.
I can't agree enough because I wouldn't be given this opportunity to interview you if it also weren't for the women who paved the way for me and gave me those breaks as well. So thank you very much, Grace.
Thanks,
it was
Bianca.
an absolute pleasure to get to speak with
The
you.
pleasure was mine. Thank you. And
Happy Women's Month.
Oh yes, Happy Women's Month.